streets of Brooklyn, where stories grow wild, to the glow of the stage where the dream meets the child. A quiet flame, a hidden spark, drawn to the words that lit up the dark. Curtains rose and so did he, finding power in poetry. One voice, one mic, one sacred truth. Every word he spoke uncaged the youth. He saw the world try to silence the bold, but his soul was wired to break the mold. Now he walks in purpose, pure and true. He was born to...
Welcome to Born to Speak to You TV. I'm your host, Calvin Gibbs. This episode is called The Engagement Gap. Why community spaces need us now. What happens when spaces that are built to bring us together start to feel empty? In this thought-provoking episode of Born to Speak to You TV, we'll take a hard look at the growing disconnect between what goes on in our communities and the quiet consequences of not showing up for the very resources designed to uplift us. From underutilized programs to the impact of technology on real human connection, this conversation will dive into what communities are really missing and why it's not always what we think. You'll also discover how one dedicated community leader is working behind the scenes to bridge that gap, creating meaningful programming, listening to the voices of the community, and transforming a historic space into a hub for connection, celebration, and growth. You're not going to want to miss this. We'll be right back. This is Born to Speak to You TV. Hi, this is Calvin Gibbs with Born to Speak to You TV, and here's your Born to Rise tip for today. You're not stuck. You're just committed to certain patterns of behavior that in the past may have worked for you. But guess what? You've grown past those patterns of behavior. Now they're more harmful than they are helpful. And the reason that you can't move forward is because you keep applying an old formula to a new level in your life. That old formula, that is for where you were. But you've moved on to another level. And it's time to have a new formula, a new solution. So change the formula and get a different result. If you keep doing what you did when you were there, it's not going to work out. You've moved on to another level, change the formula, and step into your purpose. You were born to rise.
From the streets of Brooklyn, where stories grow wild, to the glow of the stage where the dream meets the child. A quiet flame, a hidden spark, drawn to the words that lit up the dark.
And we are back. This is Born to Speak to You TV. I'm your host, Calvin Gibbs, and today we're talking about community spaces, the engagement gap, and why community spaces need us now. You know, growing up in Brooklyn, New York, I always said that the community that I lived in the inner city of Brooklyn, New York, was a true community. On my block, I knew everyone. Everyone knew me. We had parks to play in. We utilized what spaces we did have for recreation, the different parks, basketball courts, handball courts, so be it. But today, things have changed. This is a different time. And my guest joining me today is a friend of mine. She's a woman who has dedicated over 30 years to serving the community through the Chicago Park District. She is currently the Center Director, Manager of the beautiful Columbus Park Refectory in Chicago, Illinois. Please help me welcome Dionne Hawkins. Hey, Dionne, welcome to Born to Speak to You.
Hi, Calvin. Thank you for inviting me here.
It is a pleasure to have you. I've been working on this episode for a while, and in this second season of Born to Speak to You, we've covered a lot of ground as far as different elements that bring us together as a people,
Mm-hmm.
whether it be work, different things, but we haven't really talked much about community. So when I think about community, I think about you. I know that you've done over 30 years in the Chicago Park District. I met you there, 28 years ago.
Oh, it was
Wow.
a while back.
It was a while back, but
Yeah.
at that time you were still serving the community because you was working with the youth
Mm-hmm.
and introducing them to different programs, theater, as well as the adults. And now you've moved on to a different position. So let's talk about your journey and the purpose. So let's talk about a little bit about your journey with the Chicago Park District. What has kept you committed for over 30 years? Now, I know you're going to say a check.
Okay, I'm
but
not gonna say that. Oh.
but what no really what has made you has kept you committed to the Park District for 30 years?
Well, one of the things is that I like working with young people. I like working with people that had never heard of theater, never heard of drama, never heard of cultural arts, never had an opportunity. Young people that people sometimes forgot, didn't see, were discarded, were ignored. And I was able to give them a place, give them a spot, give them some direction, believe in them, pat them on the back, push them on the stage, say you can do it, and encourage them to try something different. So to be able to see someone go from A to B has been, and not even A to B, A to B to C to D to Q to whatever, we're going to go to infinity and beyond, is one of the things that's kept me involved in this. Is yes, the paycheck is good. I have to, gotta live. Everybody's gotta live. But the reason I'm involved in this is because I see the difference that it makes. That I have people that I met when they were children, and I still know them as adults. I know their children. I know. So it's been a thing of, I'm able to see the difference. And I think that's the thing, is that sometimes you don't get to see. You plant a seed, you don't know if it grows. I'm able to see the seeds grow. I'm able to see the weeds grow, but I'm also able to see those seeds. So that's one of the things that's kept me involved in this whole community thing, is that making a difference makes a difference. I already realized that people are only here for a certain amount of time, and then you got to
Mm-hmm.
go. You're
Yeah.
checking out. So if you're checking out and you're not here, what's going to make a difference is what you did. And what's your impact? What did you do? Are you someone that someone might remember? And even if they don't remember you particularly, will they remember something that you did that made an impact for their life, that they can impact it on somebody else's life?
Okay, great. So Dionne, how would you say your previous experience prepared you or prepares you for this current role?
Okay. So my previous experience, I was a drama instructor, cultural arts specialist, I guess you would call it. I did a lot of things of working with youth, teens, programming, special event coordinating. I'm also a Girl Scout special event coordinator, so I do special events with them as well. Um, the new position is a position that not so new now, it's been about 2.5 years, but the new position is working with special event venues and working with people that are looking for a place to do something, host a party, birthday, weddings, galas, breakfasts, things like that. And although yes, it seems like it's different to me, sometimes it's like it's still the same thing, because it's like it's still a production. I still have the actors, which are the two people that are getting married, and then the stage is this walkway where they're going to walk upon and say their ceremony. So it still is a production. It's still something getting there, and it still is a sense of accomplishment because you've helped them to get the nice place that they want to have. You help them work with the caterers, etc., and they're usually happy. They had a nice wedding. It's a good memory to remember. So that's kind of like how I push it over. And in my previous role, I was also doing some room rentals, but this is a little bit more than just renting a room to someone. You're renting one of the rooms for one of the most important parts of their life, that they
Okay.
remember that this is their, especially weddings. I mean, that's mostly what we do, are a lot of weddings. So this is a very big, important part of someone's life.
Indeed, indeed. And I'm glad that you mentioned that you sometimes look at it as a production, because
Mhm.
as a director, I have had the firsthand experience of being with you on stage, being directed by you, picking up some tricks and techniques and all. And you are someone that even today I always refer to you as a great director. So
Oh,
I know that these
I'm not,
these folks
okay.
that's coming to you for their important day are in good hands. Um, how would you
Thank you.
describe? Well, you're welcome. How would you describe the Columbus Park community today?
Uh, Columbus Park community today. It's I would say primarily African American. Is boarding on the Oak Park walkway there. So there are a lot of people that do cross over from Oak Park to utilize the facilities in the Columbus Park. So I mean they're right there. So it's like and so that's a Oak Park is a little bit more diverse. I would say it's a mix of everything because you have young people, you have a lot of older people that have been in the community for a while that own homes and own property and they've been there for a while. You've got people that are coming in for a little bit to stay in some of the apartments and things of that nature. So um, I would have to say in terms of ages is diverse. In terms of racial backgrounds, I would say it's not as diverse as it could be. Um, I'm not sure what the financial range would be for the people because it depends on where you are in your life. Are you renting the apartment or are you paying for a home that you've had for a while or has been in your family for a while? So I don't know what that would be. I'd have to look that up.
Sure, sure, sure. So let's shift a little bit. We're still talking about understanding the the community, but
Mhm.
what role would you say that technology has played in shaping community engagement, for better or worse?
Okay, so technology is supposed to be great. Got that part. The fact that you can use a phone, and I admit that I recall having a pager and a cell phone that flipped over, and then moving to my newer phone where someone can locate you in the city and know exactly where you are. I think technology has hurt in some ways because there are a lot of young people that do not know how to tell time because they never had to tell time. They've been able to look at a phone and it tells you the numbers, but if they don't know how to tell time by looking at the actual clock because it wasn't needed. There are people that don't know how to travel without using the GPS. So in a way it's made people um, less reliant on using their head or thinking and more reliant on using the machine. Um, the other thing which I see is the phones have stopped some of the young people from participating in activities that I know when I was a kid, I was going outside to play, and the kids
Right.
aren't going outside to play. And then you also have that with people saying, "Oh, it's dangerous," or "Stay inside and watch television and game." Good and well, these teenagers you're buying the newest PlayStation, the newest Nintendo, whatever 3000, and they're sitting in the rooms playing games and technology all the time and getting lost in that world. And their friends are the few people that they're playing the games, and they're not doing the interactions with each other. Um, there's a group of seniors that meet at the Columbus Park and Columbus Refectory. Mrs. McGee has a lovely senior program, and they do line dancing. But this is a group of 70 plus age plus, and 70 plus numbers wise of people that are participating. And as an older group, then they come and they're dancing and they're doing these movements. But I don't know if we had this for a younger group, would the interest be the same? Would they want to come and let's learn this line dance or whatever type of dance it is? Maybe we got to do a different type of dancing. But I just see that it's technology has kind of been traded for social interactions and real meaningful activities. And I think the pandemic helped with that a lot, because we changed to a format of let's do everything online, let's limit our class sizes, let's not be in front of everybody, let's only keep your friend group small. And people stopped doing some of the things, the interactions going outside. Have you seen a bunch of kids playing jump rope, like double dutch?
It's been a long time.
Right. And that was one of the things of kids were outside. You were doing double dutch. These kids don't know how to do that. And maybe someone will say, oh, this is old fashioned and these are old things. But then what are the new things that the kids want to do besides being on their phone and doing TikTok videos, which you do see them doing often? They'll set up a camera and do that in the corner, in the street, in the store, and they're just doing a video. But I just feel like they're not engaging with other people. I've seen kids at restaurants and everyone's had a phone. I've seen people that go to the doctor's office even, and everyone's on the phone. I just think people used to talk or something, but now everyone's just sitting there waiting, and the phone has become a babysitting device, and it's slowly keeping it's keeping your mind locked in, and it's pacifying people. I think that might have been one of the intentions of it, is that it's controlling people by keeping you in this mindset of looking at this device and you're not interacting and being a part of life. It's dulled you.
All right. Well, let's put a pin in it right here. We're going to take a short commercial break, and we'll be right back. We're going to be talking about From Needs to Action. This is Born to Speak to You TV. We'll be right back. Welcome to Born to Speak to You TV, where we're speaking life into the moments that matter. This isn't just a show. It's a movement. It's a space where stories are honored, voices are lifted, and truth has a mic. Each episode, we dive into powerful conversations on identity, on equity, growth, healing, leadership, and the courage that it takes to speak up in a world that often wants us to keep quiet. Whether it's through personal testimony, community impact, or artistic expression, Born to Speak to You is where voices rise and change begin. Our mission is simple: to empower people to use their voice, own their truth, and build bridges of communication and understanding. So, sit back or lean in, because you're about to witness what happens when passion meets purpose. This is Born to Speak to You TV. Let's speak life. We are back. This is Born to Speak to You TV. My guest today is Dionne Hawkins, and this episode is The Engagement Gap: Why Community Spaces Need Us Now. So we've talked a little bit about your journey. We talked a little bit about understanding the community that you're working in. let's talk about needs to action. Uh, how do you gather, Dionne, feedback from the community and turn it into real programming?
Um, I guess what I mean, the park district has ways that they do things by surveys, word of mouth, um, talking with people and actually interacting. I know on occasion there's been things where someone might say, "Hey, we were interested in a such and such class," and so they'll open up the class and see if they can get people to be interested in participation. I myself have had some little cards that I set out. That was like comment cards. You know, when I used to do plays, I would always say, "Can you give us some comments? What did you like? What didn't you like? What could we do better?" And then those are a basis I can look at those as to get a quick idea of what someone is thinking, and just actually just talking with someone actually.
Okay. So let's say I was to come to you and say, Dionne, I'm in the Columbus Park community, and I believe that some of the seniors might benefit from having chair yoga. How would we go about getting that idea into a program?
You cannot go online to the Chicago Park District website and make a suggestion that way. You can also talk with the park supervisor if you have a specific park that you're interested in doing that program, and talking about what you want to do, gathering some friends about and saying, come on with. There's also an advisory council that meets there. In fact, they meet on Tuesday, tomorrow, in fact. So you could talk with the advisory council about programming, and they will probably get a class up and see if they can do such a thing.
Okay. So the advisory council is also a resource for you getting
Yeah.
feedback from the community.
Yeah, the
Okay, very
advisory
good.
council is a voice for the community to interact with the park district to find out what's going on, to find out if some of the needs of the community are being met. And they just serve as a liaison for the park and the people. But people can all, I mean, we're not standoffish that you can't come and talk to someone. You can always come and talk to someone and say, we're interested in this type of program.
Okay. Now you've talked about weddings using the space there for special events, um, and you talked about line dancing. What are some other programs that have successfully been that successfully have brought people together?
Well, the facility I work is mostly a special event venue. So we are mostly working with people that are coming for a special occasion type of a thing. So they're coming for a wedding, a birthday party. But there also are other occasions that things are being done, such as there's health fairs that are being held, there's a community fair or a job fair. There are some events, community events that I had put together to do once a month that we've done paint and sip. We did a gospel concert. We did what was some other things? A game night. We're going to have an open house. I had an open house last year. I'm doing another open house, which is an opportunity to see the facility all shiny and new, and sample some foods from the caterers, and see if this is a space that you would like to utilize for an event in the future. So those are some of the things that we have been doing, is trying to pull in once a month these activities that engage the community. We also have some local groups that do meet there once a month. There's a leadership, West Side leadership meeting that meets there. There's the alderman has their meeting there once a month. So we have some community based meetings that occur there.
Okay, thank you for that. This sounds like that space is really being used to the max for the benefit of the community. So let's move into the next segment, Beyond. Let's talk about the power of the space. Because if you go to the Columbus Park website, there are so many pictures, and it gives you a great idea of some of the events that have been done there, hosted there. But what makes Columbus Park Refectory, said the word right that time,
Hmm.
such a special place?
Well, the refectory is a special place for a couple of reasons. It is a national landmark. It was constructed between 1915 and 1920 by Jen Jensen. And he is known for his landscape design, for the prairie style. It was originally 144 acres, but then when they built the expressway, they cut some of the land out, and 9 acres went away. So it's been there. It's been here for a while. It's seen a lot, and it's made it into historical status. We have a 9 course golf course that's off right to the side. There's a man-made, I guess, prairie style. I don't know what you want to call it. Water feature. There's a waterfall feature, and there's also water that I don't know if you want to call it a lake or a pond or some sort. And people do fish there, so which is kind of interesting. You come by and someone's fishing. People go nature walking. There are a lot of different birds. There are a lot of different animals. Um, there's a really cool app that you can use that lets you record the surroundings. And when you record the surroundings, it'll tell you what birds are in your vicinity. And I think that's so
Oh,
cool. But it's a lot of really interesting history, and it's very scenic, and it's a very nice place to hang out.
and it is in the city, within the limits of the city of Chicago.
Yeah, it
And
is.
and you don't often think about things like that being a part of the big city, right?
Well, one of the things is that where it's located, it's right borderline of Oak Park, and but it's in the Austin neighborhood. It's on the west side of Chicago, but it's almost one of those things that when people come, they always say, "Oh, I didn't know this was here. Oh, I didn't know this is so nice. I didn't know that the Chicago Park District offered this." And I'm just like, "Yeah, come on in." It's a nice space, and it
It's a
feels
yes, I was going to say it's a very beautiful space as well.
yes, it is.
Okay. We're going to take a little break again, Dionne. We're going to have a word from our sponsor, and we'll be right back. This is
Okay.
Born to Speak to You TV, and we'll be right back in 60 seconds.
All righty.
We are back. This is Born to Speak to You TV. We're having a very engaging conversation with my guest, Dionne Hawkins. This episode is The Engagement Gap: Why Community Spaces Need Us Now. Let's talk about impact. Let's talk about challenges and reality check. Challenges and reality check. Because, Dionne, I know that some people say they want something and then they don't really support it. What's the gap between what people say they want and what they actually support?
Hmm. I don't know how to answer that. The gap between what they want and their support. Well, I know coming from a theater background and me doing plays and things like that, I always um, were pleasantly surprised or pleasantly, I don't know this. It always brought me joy, I guess, to see people that supported the arts in the parks. I'd have children that were in a play, and people say, "Oh, we want arts, we want drama, we want dance, we want music," but then they're not necessarily coming out to support these shows that have the art, the dance, and the music in it. And I'd have parents that would drop off a kid and come pick them up after the show, as opposed to supporting the kid and supporting the kid in the show. And it's not even just the parents supporting the show, the community should support the show. It should be everyone's coming to see it, everyone's there, everyone's involved, because there are so many places and things that are going on that we need to support them as well. You know, if the kids have, you can go by football games and there's a stadium full of people, and you can go by football games and there's no one watching. And then, so for the kid who's deciding to play football instead of hang out on the street corner or do something else they could do, you look around and say, well, is this really important? Because no one seems to support it. And I think supporting what we say we want helps our I guess it helps in the long run. You know, people say we need this, we need these programs, we need this, we need that. And there really are a lot of programs already. I mean, if you look up what's happening in the city, who has a teen program, who has a senior program, who has a bicycle club, a swimming club, there are lots of programs that are out there, but I don't think that everyone necessarily utilizes them to their full capacity.
I would agree with that. And you know, I talked earlier about community and you know, growing up in really impacted different events was getting the schools involved. I mean, yes, the play is at the field house, but some students from the school is in the play. So why not get them out, invite the school, invite the teachers to come and support this production? I mean, even if it's dance, poetry, whatever the case is, getting schools and churches involved is a great community thing. And I know oftentimes we advertise there and we don't get the results we want.
So originally, when I started working in the park district, I had an excellent relationship with the Chicago Public Schools. Um, I was insane. I partnered with a school, and I had 5 teachers bring their students over once a week for class. So that's, let's just say 30 kids. So it's 30 kids for each class, plus the same kids would come after school and do drama. And then I told the teachers I would do their plays for them for the holidays, for Christmas, Thanksgiving, Black History Month, Mexican Heritage Month. It doesn't matter. I'll do it, and you just chill out. That worked great because the teachers were relieved to be able to let go of that part and be able to focus on the education that they needed to get the kids so they could pass to the next level. And also the school still had the social and things that they needed to do for once a month. We got to have this, whatever, this concert. So that worked for me. As time has come about, people aren't doing that as much, especially once the pandemic hit. And even before the pandemic hit, the schools started doing their own programming. They started doing their own after school programming, and they were stingy about their kids. You know, like we go into the campus and try to solicit them to come to the after school program, and they're like, "Oh, no, 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 we need them for our program." So they're still kids. People still have children, but it's like we're fighting for the same group of kids. And it worked nicely when we were working together and being able to say, I can support you by doing the production. You can do this production at your place. Then the parents come out. We can do the production at my space and the parents can come out. Now we are utilizing both space with energy, and everyone's happy. But once things start changing, it became a disconnect of no, no, these are our kids. We need our kids. But it's like we need them too so that they can have the experiences over here as well.
Right, right. And the pandemic really affected a lot of us in a lot of different ways. That disconnect, years later, is still going on in some capacities.
Mm-hmm.
Um, People being by themselves, uh, not connecting in groups or communities as we did
Correct.
before the pandemic. Even I would say, even the kids who may have been more apt to go outside and
Aren't as
then
apt,
had
right?
and then had to spend time inside, learning and everything, like they're not coming out now at all. So we
Correct.
already talked about that. But that sounds like a another episode for another day.
Okay.
Uh, dr- Drilling deeper into how communities can support each other with resources. Let's move into impact and vision, Dionne. Can you share a moment with us that reminded you why this work really matters?
Oh wow. Why does this really matter? Hmm. I cannot share one moment because there are so many moments to say why this really matters. You know, from see, you're trying to make me cry. I knew this was a plan. Um, I have a one day. I have a 1 day cry a day, and I haven't cried today, so I guess this is it. There's so many things that occur that remind me this is why it matters. When you get a letter from a kid that says thank you for pouring into me, thank you for taking me to see a play. I've had children that had never been downtown Chicago before but could see it from their homes, but had never ventured downtown. And when they got close, they were like, "Are we in New York? Are we? What is this water here?" And I'm just like, "This can't be real. That you've never seen Lake Michigan, that you've never been downtown, but you've been in your box for so long that you never knew the things were out here." So just taking an opportunity to say, let's go outside, let's see something different, getting out of your 8 blocks of comfort and seeing something different, being a part of something different. I've had kids that have traveled um, to Costa Rica because of a push of me saying, you can do this. I had a young lady that traveled to Egypt and her mom was nervous and like, I don't know, I don't know. Like, yes, please let her go. You know, it's a thing of being able to see past the space that you're in and then seeing that person later and what the impact it made on them. So there isn't one little moment. I have a whole bunch of moments that
Hmm.
say this is worth it. This is why. And I'll tell you the other thing if I got time. I wasn't planning on doing this. I wasn't planning on being involved with community. I wasn't planning on teaching theater, working with children. I was going to be a movie star and be in movies and commercials and act for myself. And then I did a redirect and realized that, yes, I do know how to do these things, but these kids have never done this before. These people have never done this. And I saw that that was more important was to pull some other people into the I guess pull some more people into the doorway. Come on in and see this. And I was able to see that, and that kind of changed how I started working for myself. So instead of me saying, I'm going to do a theater, I'm going to do this play, I'm going to do that, it came more of, no, I want you to do this. I've had students that traveled to Germany and performed, and, because they started off in a theater program with me. And then from there, they were able to train with someone else and learn from someone else and keep on going on and on and on. I know that it's a seed that's being started, and
Mm-hmm.
where's it going to go from there? And
Mm-hmm.
push out into the world and grow. It's like a parent that puts a kid in college and you're hopeful that they're going to come out and be successful. It's the same
Mm-hmm.
type of thing as seeing people being successful with life.
Yeah. On Born to Speak to You TV, we call that speaking life into the moments that matter. I recently, well, I know some of the teens that you have worked with, and I've watched them grow and have their own families now. And I still stay in contact, especially with three of them, Latilia, Kelvin, and Vincent. And I think it was last week I saw a Facebook post from Kelvin, who has had a career in the Army, in the
Mm-hmm.
military. He's
Mm-hmm.
decorated, got his family and all, and he was just turning 40.
Is
And I
that
was like,
crazy? Is that
wow,
crazy? I
wow.
remember him being a little kid. I remember him like 9 or something.
Yes,
And I'm just
yes.
like, how did that happen?
Yeah, I remember um directing, no, being maybe directing as well a play that they were in, Vincent and Kelvin. And the last show, I said, okay, actors, this is the last show. We've had a couple weeks run. If there's anything you have wanted to try, this is the last show, go for it. Had them doing the do-si-do out there. Oh, they were ring dancing. I was like, oh my God, what did I do? I, I, I had, I learned as a director never to give um, that leeway to actors again, because I told them and they did it. But all that to say, these are young men and women now, and
Yeah.
Robin's included in that as well. And it's a pleasure. Your legacy is watching them grow and then have families of their own, and their kids are doing
A lot
tremendous
of them
things as
involved
well.
in theater. Some of them are poets. Some of them are singers. Some of them have a little bit of a cultural background in them,
Yeah.
and that's the cool thing. I'm just like, okay, it didn't just stop, and you didn't just say, "Hey, I'm done with this." So that's a cool thing.
Yeah, yeah. So they're going to take the seed and they're going to they've grown it, and now they're going to plant somewhere else, and the legacy goes on. So we're going to take a little break, Dionne, right here. We'll be right back after this short message. This
Okay.
is Born to Speak to You TV. We'll be right back. This is Straight Talk with Calvin. Come on, let's be real for just a moment. We say we want safe spaces. We say we want opportunities for our kids. We say we want community. But the question is, are we showing up for it? Dionne is doing the work. The programs exist. The space is there. But a building doesn't create community. People do. So here's the truth. We cannot complain about what we don't have while ignoring what's already been built for us. If we don't show up, we lose it. If we don't engage, we disconnect. And if we don't invest in our community spaces, who will? This isn't just about a park. It's about ownership, it's about pride, and it's about presence. This is Straight Talk with Calvin. And we are back. I'm Calvin Gibbs. This is Born to Speak to You. And my wonderful guest this episode has been Dionne Hawkins from the Columbus Park Refectory. That is correct. This is a call to the community. Dionne, how can people get involved beyond just attending events? And if you had a chance to say something to someone right now, very briefly, who hasn't stepped into the park yet, what would that be?
Utilize the park district, utilize the spaces that are there. The spaces are there so we can have things to do and have a meaningful part of life, connect with somebody, put down a cell phone, talk to someone. I think we forget of the basic things that we need. And that's one of the basic things that we need is to connect. Go outside, do a program, sign up for a swim class, take a basketball class, bring your kid to the park, participate, show up for a basketball game. You don't know anybody in the game. Just show up to cheer. So someone can see that someone else helps, someone else is supporting you, because I think we don't do enough of that.
All right. Thank you very much. And you can contact Dionne at dramalove5@aol.com. You can also check out the Columbus Park website. They're part of the Chicago Park District. Dionne, I want to thank you for being a tremendous guest on Born to Speak to You TV. And I hope we get a chance. My pleasure. And I hope we get a chance to do this again on another subject real soon. So thank you again. And we will be right back after this short message from the Coaches Lounge.
Okay.
And we are back. What a powerful conversation we've had today with my guest, Dionne Hawkins. We were reminded that community doesn't just happen. It requires intention, participation, and presence. We learned that the resources are there, the programs are there, the spaces are there, but it's up to us to show up, to engage, and to take ownership of what's been built for us. So to our viewers, here's your call to action. Visit your local park, attend a community event, support the programs designed to uplift your neighborhood, and most importantly, bring someone with you. Because community is not just about something that we talk about, it's about something that we create together. I want to thank my incredible guest, Dionne Hawkins, for her dedication, for her service, and for reminding us what true community leadership looks like. I also want to give a special thank you to DFN Broadcast Studios for providing me this platform to have real, meaningful conversations that impact life. This is Born to Speak to You TV, and we will continue to speak life into the moments that matter. I'm your host, Calvin Gibbs, and until the next time, keep speaking life into the moments that matter.
Of Brooklyn, where stories grow wild, to the glow of the stage where the dream meets the child. A quiet flame, a hidden spark, drawn to the words that lit up the dark. Curtains rose and so did he, finding power in poetry. One voice, one mic, one sacred truth. Every word he spoke uncaged the youth. He saw the world try to silence the bold, but his soul was wired to break the mold. Now he walks in purpose, pure and true. He was born to speak to you. He's got that rhythm in his truth, that fire in his flow. Speaking life into the moment, watch it grow. Every phrase, every beat, a breakthrough cue. Yeah, he was born to speak to you.